What's up, guys? Brett Okamoto from ESPN, joined by Marc Raimondi. We are on the ground in New York City for UFC 295. It is Media Day at the Marquis Marriott. It's where they always have the Media Day. I want to open it up to your thoughts. I have some specific questions about this card that I would like to get your thoughts on. I have them written down right here. But I want to. The floor is yours at first. What are you thinking about these fights? What are you most intrigued by?
I mean, I know that this card took what some would say was a blow, right? When you lose Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic. These are big names. These are championship level fighters, all-time greats, right, in their respective divisions. But I'm going to go on a limb and say that for the hardcore fan, I don't think this card has taken a hit in the eyes of the hardcore fan.
It got better.
I agree. And I think that for the people who really know fighting, and I know Jon Jones, big name. Miocic, big name. They're a little older. The guys that I think a lot of fans would say are the best heavyweights in the world right now, and I don't mean any disrespect to Jones and Miocic, are Tom Aspinall and Sergei Pavlovich. Look at their resumes. They're younger. They're hungry. They're maybe not even in their primes yet because heavyweights kind of tend to have their primes later on. I think that the addition of that fight to this card makes it more interesting actually for the hardcore fan.
Yeah, I completely agree. I am more interested in a fight between Aspinall and Pavlovich than I am, quite frankly, in a Jones versus Stipe fight. And that's because of what you said. The resumes are great, and for the history and the storylines to some of the casual fans, it's great. I mean, I'm sure ticket prices were higher when Jon Jones was on the card. But as a hardcore fan, as you say, I'm more interested in the other fight. I got to ask then, do you kind of feel bad for those guys? Like Aspinall and Pavlovich, like on one hand, it's like, no, of course I don't feel bad for them. They get an interim title fight. But at the same time, it's like they've worked for this moment. Aspinall is now taking it on short notice, and Sergei's in a position where if he wins, but then there's still Jon Jones and Stipe, and it's like they're going to do that fight again, and so he's not the real champion. It just kind of feels like it sort of waters down the moment for them.
It's a little more convoluted than I think you would like leading into a big fight for an Aspinall and a Pavlovich, of course. But look, it's MSG, right? It's New York. It's a big stage. It's a co-main event of pay-per-view. The winner of that fight will come out of this a much bigger name. And I really think that, I mean, for both of them, maybe more Aspinall, I do think that either one of those guys can be stars, can be the future, a big name like a Jon Jones and a Miocic. I really do feel that way.
Yeah, and I don't disagree, especially Tom, because of the whole England connection, of course. But, when the news came out that Jon Jones had injured himself and he was no longer going to be on this card, we did a quick reaction video with Chael Sonnen and DC, and I said in that video, and I'd be curious to know if you agree with me, I think that the fact that they are looking to rebook Jon and Stipe, I think both those guys are going to retire. I just think that they just know that Jon has one fight left in him, and so they want to do it against Stipe because they feel like that's the highest selling one. Do you kind of read between those lines as well, or are you not so sure to make that jump?
It's really interesting because when that broke, right, that Jon Jones got injured, I reported that night that the UFC was looking to rebook that fight. And I was really surprised, Brett, by the response that got, just my reporting. People did not want to see that fight in 2024.
Yeah.
At least the hardcore fans, the ones that follow us, because we cover the sport day in and day out. I was surprised by that because I still want to see that fight, but I no longer view it as it's a heavyweight title fight, but it's also almost more of like a career achievement award type of fight, right? It's a legacy fight, which is great, and I want to see it. They're big names. It would have been a really big MSG card. Jon is from New York, never fought here before, but I think that you can make the case. And again, I know that I'm going to probably annoy a Jon Jones or a Stipe. The winner of this fight is the best heavyweight in the world.
You're reading my mind because my rankings of the middleweight division have annoyed some people because I kept Israel Adesanya ahead of Sean Strickland. The reason I did it is because just resume-wise, I do still think that Israel has a more impressive resume. So I would ask you the same question. Yeah. I mean, Jon Jones has one win at heavyweight. The winner of this fight, their resume at heavyweight is going to be more impressive. Would you rank them number one? And I know that we haven't seen the fight yet, but would you rank them number one ahead of Jon Jones?
Maybe. It's possible. We'll see how the fight goes. But I'll say this. When I was reporting on a Jon Jones story earlier this year, I went to Albuquerque and I saw Greg Jackson, who's Jon's longtime coach, and he told me that when Jon Jones decided he was going to go to heavyweight, one of the guys that he watched, and this was like 4 years ago, one of the guys that he watched even then was Tom Aspinall. They knew even then down in Albuquerque that Aspinall was going to be a problem in the division. Well,
dang, that's interesting.
That time has come, and I think if he wins that fight, there's a case to be made. I know he lost the fight to Blades, it was an injury, but there's a case to be made.
I can't wait for that fight. I think it's going to be a glimpse at sort of the future of the division. I think we'll see this fight again.
Present and future.
Regardless of the outcome, I think we will see this fight again. Let's talk about the main event. And I think, to your point about this card being so good for the hardcore fan, I think this is one of the best style matchups of the year.
Yep.
What are you looking for in this fight?
Chaos, violence, unpredictability. We'll see where Jiri Prochazka is after being out for so long, coming off pretty devastating shoulder injury. We know what Alex Pereira is, right? He's a complete wrecking ball of a human being. He's going to try to take you out. He's going to try to hit that left hook. And if there's any indication by the history, he's going to land that left hook. How does Prochazka deal with that whole thing over 5 rounds? And what does Jiri throw at Pereira? Because, like, Alex is a traditional kickboxer. He fought in glory, right? These are the best kickboxers, the most technical guys in the world. You may not say that Prochazka is technical, but he's going to throw a lot of stuff that maybe Alex has not seen in a traditional kickboxing match.
Yeah. And Michael Chiesa made a point to me. We were talking about this fight, and he said that Alex, as great as he is conventional, and he does a lot of counters, and a great way to beat that style is to mess with the timing. And Jiri messes with timing because he's so weird.
How do you counter that guy?
Unpredictable.
Yeah.
Last thing I'll ask about you, and then stay with us on ESPN MMA YouTube all week for storylines and news coming out of New York. What do you think? Give me some 205-pound storylines that you think are going to be created going into next year. It's been such a weird freaking division with the draws and the injuries. I mean, we've had 2 vacated titles in the last, year and a half? Like it's just a weird division. Ever since Jon Jones left it, it's been kind of cursed. What do you think of the state of the division? Obviously, we've got a great fight here on Saturday, but just some storylines that you think could conjure up in 2024?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is Jamal Hill, right? How soon does he get back? Does he get the next shot after this? That probably depends on how this fight goes as well. He's a guy that he was the champion. He beat Glover Teixeira. He's still also pretty young in terms of age, and he's got a lot of upside. So that'll be a great fight. If he fights the winner, that's a great fight no matter what, because he's a striker. The division I feel like I'm hoping anyway. The division, I feel like I'm hoping anyway that it's kind of past like that Jon Jones, like, I'm trying to find the word, like, that Jon Jones hangover, right? Because here you have the guy for over a decade who's the man in the division. I feel like now this fight especially is one people are excited to see, and I think as we move into 2024, we'll kind of move on from Jon Jones at 205 and kind of look at the guys like, Jiri and even like a Jan Blachowicz, Magomed Ankalaev is also very good, and it'll be a new generation. These guys are also, some of them are a little younger.
Rakic is there, and he's got
he's gonna have a fight against Jan Blachowicz, I think, in early 2024. So I think that we're past the Jon Jones hangover stage of the 205 division. At least I'm hoping.
I hope so as well. I mean, we've said that before, and then strange things have happened. I'm not superstitious, so I don't need to knock on any wood or anything. Hopefully this fight has a result. It has a winner. It's not like a no contest or something, because that is the way that this division has been going.
Why do you even got to say that,
again,
Brett?
I'm not superstitious.
Just putting it into the world.
Hopefully we will have some clarity finally in this division, and then some storylines to look for in 205. Thank you so much for watching, and again, keep it tuned on ESPN MMA YouTube all week. He's Marc, I'm Brett. We'll see you next time.